Hello there. My name is David Thompson from the Fraser Valley in British Columbia. I'm just a 74-year-old senior, still like a young person because I know a lot about health and anti-aging medicine. But I've written a book titled Afterlife, Incredible, Irrefutable, which you can purchase on Amazon. If you purchase it as a paperback, it's a large 6x9 paperback of 368 pages, which is from the very first page to the very last page. And of course, you can get it in Kindle format to have to read on your phone or whatever other digital device. And one of the advantages with Kindle is that there are many links in this book to very profound and amazing YouTube videos that go to the exact time point in the YouTube video of the specific thing that I am talking about. And there's an extensive bibliography as well with links that go to other places and to videos. So that's a wonderful feature in my book. And you may be wondering why I'm sharing this. I will share that this is without preparation. And I'm just sharing from my heart about the important things in this book. And it is a topic that is becoming more and more popular and well known, and for good reason, because there are so many highly verified accounts with very strong empirical scientific evidence of people that have died and been revived back to life by modern medical equipment. And literally, there would be thousands and thousands of cases. I don't know how many are actually recorded and video and so on, but there's enough where the individual, highly verified to have been dead by medical equipment and doctors, tells the doctors exactly what they were talking about, what they were doing on their body, what they saw in the room next door where their relatives were and what they were talking about, or 10 miles away in the home and what they were doing. Highly verified over and over again. And of course, there are many cases in my book like that. I do point out a lot of strong, irrefutable evidence of the afterlife in my book. And I do have insights in my book that I've never seen in the best-selling books that I've read. And answers that are far more thorough and profound and give a far greater understanding as to how these very many different kinds of experiences all fit together. I use a very scientific, integral definition of truth that I use as a criteria to filter out all of these experiences and expose a lot of deception that is also involved in the interpretation of these afterlife experiences. And my book also has a lot of secondary evidence in the first 2 chapters out of the 20 chapters. That is very interesting, from particle physics going into the very integral mathematical languages that are used that point to these superior dimensions that people enter into. Of course, we're in the 3rd dimension, but the 4th to the 10th dimension is all dimensions that are superior one above the other. In other words, the 4th is superior to the 3rd, the 5th is superior to the 4th, and so on all the way up to the 10th, and some believe there's a 11th dimension. So I point out the mathematical language that points to what people actually experience in the afterlife, which is so much more real than this present existence, that many of them say, in essence, that your real life doesn't really begin here. It begins there. And that's the life that never ends. This is like a vague dream compared to that. One person compared this dimension that we're in to 2D paper compared to the 3D dimension as far as the greatness of the difference of reality, that dimension, which secular scientists would define as the fifth dimension, is so much more real. Now, not others. Here's something that people don't point out that I point out. Some people don't experience it being much more real, but many do experience it being way, and by many magnitudes, more real than this dimension. So in my book, I do cover many areas of this very solid evidence for the afterlife. And I will say this, that what I define as the truth can be applied to any background in a proper and the most integral way to bring a proper conclusion as to how their experience fits in with the overall experiences of so many others. So I give answers to a lot of very hard questions. And you might be wondering, well, what qualifies me to write on the afterlife? Did I experience dying? Many of the people that have written books on the afterlife have, but there are others that are bestsellers that have not, just like myself. But I have reasons for being highly qualified to write this book. Of course, the main reason I wrote this book is because I want you to discover the very reason for which you exist and your ultimate destiny and purpose. And I want you to have an ultimate destiny in heaven, because there are many that experience great torment, and that goes on forever. And that's also highly verified. And the torment in that other dimension is worse than the physical, but also the pleasure is magnitudes greater. And you never die there, so if you're experiencing, some terrible things in torment, your body keeps on being put back together after it's torn apart by demons, let's say. This is nothing compared to that life, and I want you to know about what there is for you that is so good and that you can choose to enter. It's the reason for which you're alive. The book I'm written, you won't be able to put it down. It is very interesting. And what makes it even more interesting is the very amazing answers I give that are very thorough and answer the hardest questions that I've not found in the bestsellers. I'm not saying the bestsellers don't answer hard questions, but not as thorough, and not many of the questions that are hard questions are even in there that I answer. I mean, I really go into reincarnation. I say, how does that possibly, how can it be that some people believe in reincarnation after they experience the afterlife? Because they heard an angel tell them that this angel said, well, we're planning to go to another planet and experience living there in another life. What is that all about? What is it about when Christians, and I will say about Christians that I am giving and writing this book from a Christian perspective, but in a way that is very integral, so that it can equally apply to any background as to how I draw these conclusions. But it is from a Christian perspective. There are many very interesting accounts that I've written about one, prophetic NDEs, those that have experienced the future or have had the future revealed to them at a certain point in time when they continue to live their life on earth after experiencing the afterlife. One is Baha'i. Another is an Orthodox Jewish background. Another is a New Age background. Another is a Christian background. And I go into prophetic NDEs. And many other very interesting things in my book. The last two chapters and the first two chapters are not going into actual accounts of people and their experience of the afterlife. But out of those 20 chapters, the other 16, which are large chapters, do. The last 2 chapters are also very interesting and are filled with amazing answers and also incredible YouTube videos. That give answers and evidence all the more for what is so obviously some of the most, well, it is the most strong empirical evidence for God, heaven and hell, and the afterlife. And it's very strong, the evidence. So I want you to know that. And I want you to know that I am qualified not to write this book because I went to some seminary. Yes, I am a Christian. But that's not what qualifies me to write this book because I have a bunch of degrees. I don't. Oh, yes, I went to an interdenominational Bible school when I was from between 1969 to 1972 and graduated, the largest one in Canada, Prairie Bible Institute. They didn't give degrees. Many of them didn't even believe it was right to give degrees. They were in leadership at that time. No. God has gifted me, and the people that are the most gifted aren't the ones that go to some place and get a degree. They are the ones that have studied on their own, and they have that unique gifting from God himself. And I have a gifting to write on this kind of a book. And another reason that I'm qualified to write this book is because I am very sensitized to the spiritual realm, because I have spent all my life from my youth around the age of 12 on, spending an hour and a half in prayer. And then in the last number of years, it's been 3 hours for about a year and a half, and now a minimum of 2 hours, because I'm doing more things. And so that does sensitize you to the spiritual realm. And I also had an open vision in my mid-20s in 1975 that I will never forget, where 3 of my friends were in the room when this happened at 1 a.m. after we were fasting and praying for 3 days. And one of my friends was involved in the vision with me. It was an open vision. We weren't on drugs. We don't believe in taking drugs. And I saw the face of Christ. I had been praying before with great hunger that God would give me a revelation of Christ. And my friend told me that God had revealed her. I'd have that revelation in the next few weeks. And I thought nothing of it. And then when I didn't expect it, here we're in the room, and the whole room fills with light. And I won't go into the details of what I saw. I needed that vision because I had 2 pressures that were coming to a climax. I was very hungry for God and seeking him. And at the same time, I was very condemned because I was struggling with lust in my imagination and my desire to have a wife and all of that. And those 2 pressures came to a climax because God saw how I was believing that I was being rejected by God and so on. And he revealed his love to me. And I saw the face of Christ, and there was incredible love in his eyes. But he looked very stern as a captain that meant business. But the love was incredible. It was wonderful. And I'm not going to tell you all the details. There was a lot in that vision. But that sensitized me to this spiritual realm. And by the way, I think I forgot to minimize myself on this, so I'm going to minimize myself. So you can take a little look at this and absorb the background here a bit, right? I've also been one that has written extensively to expose the mastery of deception behind things that are taught in the public educational system, beliefs that give people no hope, no meaning, no purpose, and leave them empty with no moral value or conviction. Yes, I'm talking about the theory of evolution. And you can go to my website at ultimatemeaning.com, where I have a little flip book there that you can read with very original writing and understanding by the gifting of the Spirit of God through me to you. And in that flip book, you'll find lots of print highlighted in red, which go to amazing YouTube videos from many fields of science and archaeology, exposing the lies of evolution and also showing many things on the evidence of the afterlife. So check that out. It's nothing compared to this book I've written. That's a very small flip book compared to 368 large paperback, which you can purchase on Amazon. Afterlife, Incredible, Irrefutable. So you can go and check this book out and purchase it. And I know you won't regret it when you read it. And you find what I've written in that book. I'm sure it will bring a tremendous change in your life. And will really help you if you're a family with children. Let your children read the book because they're exposed to so many lies and corruption in our societies and our institutions that have become so corrupt. So thank you for listening to my presentation on my book here.